All right, here with Zach Blenkinsopp from Digital Roofing Innovations in Alabama, covering the Southeast United States. Welcome, Zach. Awesome to have you here.
Thanks, Joseph. I appreciate it. I'm really happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah, man, looking forward to diving in. I want to start out with something that might be a little bit eye-opening, a little attention-getting for the audience here. How many hours do you work in a typical week?
Definitely, I try to work under 40 is the goal. And really what I try to strive for is to work about 20 hours a week is what I really try to do.
20 hours a week. Okay. I thought you were going to say 20 hours a day because I know most, especially now we're in the heart of busy season in June, most roofing company owners, or a lot, are working more toward 20 hours a day. But I definitely get what you're saying there. I design my business similarly. So I'm about 45, 50 hours a week max.
That's good, man.
Yeah, getting there, trying to dwindle that down to your level there. Was it always that way, or can you explain why that's the case? You got a successful roofing company, it's working 20 to 40 hours a week. That sounds pretty sweet. What's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're familiar with Tim Ferriss and the 4 hour work week. I tell everyone, whether you want to live the lifestyle I do, where I travel all the time and get to live in other countries and stuff like that, or if you just want more time with your family or more time to go fishing, whatever, the book still makes a lot of sense. Well, I read it about 3.5, 4 years ago, and it just it was like a switch went in my head, and I realized that was the lifestyle I wanted to live. And so, yeah, when we first started, my business partner Chris McGuire and I really grinded for 100-hour weeks like everybody else does when they first launch their company. But once we hit probably the end of year 2, the hours started cutting down. And then him and I, last April was the first time him and I both lived outside the United States at the same time. And I was in Mexico most of last year, and he was in Colombia most of last year. So that was a big win for us because we've been working for that, for the last couple of years. But I think if you take your first 2 years and really grind, you can establish a business where you're not having to work so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were in Mexico, Chris is in Colombia, your company's based in Alabama, so that you're not doing inspections and estimates and things like that. How, give us a little insight as to how the business ran while you guys are not even in the country.
Well, when we first started, we actually hired a staff. We had we had an office manager and salespeople. We started off doing residential roofing like most people do. And so I'm a big fan of Jim Collins's work. So he talks about, the hedgehog theory. And I knew that we were never going to be this great residential roofing company because I didn't have a lot of passion for it. My business partner didn't have a lot of passion for it. There's some people who just crush in residential roofing, but it just wasn't the type of lifestyle we wanted to live, nor the type of business we wanted to run. And so we started focusing 100% on multifamily after that. So 4 apartment complexes. And so when we started, kind of refocusing our attention, we realized we needed less and less people to do that, to do bigger jobs. And we still had a few project managers at 1099. One of the big takeaways I took from when we had those people was if we couldn't be there full time in person, we had to micromanage from afar, or we had to be there. And neither one of those two fit the lifestyle that I was trying to live. So my business partner and I decided to, slowly let go of the 1099 people we have, focus on our customers that we already had, and quit trying to expand so much and just focus on the people we're already working with, and build those relationships even stronger. And then, started doing federal government contracting, and all that kind of led to us having less employees. Now it's just myself, him, and one person, and we can just strip overhead. And so that's kind of how we were able to make it work. And so now, with us doing bigger projects, if someone calls me and says, "Hey, we need you to go do an inspection on an apartment complex," well, I'll fly back in from wherever I'm at to go do, an inspection on a project that we could, bid for $200,000. But for $5,000 doing Miss Susie's, roof down the street, I'm not going to do that. So it's all about time commitment, right? And what makes sense, to your company.
Yeah, and I assume that apartment complex you're to go inspect is based on a relationship that you have. So there's a certain level of okay, if I, as long as I'm in the right spot here with my numbers and my proposal and estimate, then I have a good chance, as opposed to like a cold lead that's like, yo, take a look at my apartment complex, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't do
Okay.
that because again, in the apartment complex game, if you don't have relationships with those people, you're not getting the job. So
Right, right. Okay, so let's jam on that a little bit because a lot of residential roofing companies are looking to get into multifam, looking to get into government, looking to get into commercial. They want to kind of graduate and elevate from that, from doing the Mrs. Jones house to the multifamily project. How did you guys build those relationships?
well, it's obviously, as well as I do, people like you, they're going to buy from you. But at the same time, you got to also do a really good job. So the way we kind of approached it, we found a niche market inside of multifamily, and we just continued to build the relationships inside that. We would go to conferences, we would go to events if they were having something we could sponsor. So we'll do all of that. Now we only have one or two clients, but we get all of their work, all their multifamily work, and so we're their preferred roofing contractor. So we kind of went to the mentality of, instead of trying to get 10 or 15 like massive multifamily property management companies, if you can get one or two, I mean, it's especially if you're a small business and your overhead's small, or if you're just a salesperson out there and you're wanting to, I always kind of think of it like this. If you build a relationship with a property management company, whether it's for residential roofing or for multifamily, doing that is kind of like, would you rather, every time, like if you want to just a new client, it's like fishing for a day, right? You might catch a
Yep.
fish that day, that's great, but it's kind of like that well that you go to that just keeps on giving, and you don't have to try anymore. They're going to give you their work as long as you maintain that relationship with them and take care of them and don't get that nasty word hubris and just assume they're going to give you their work. As long as you work hard, they're just going to keep feeding you work instead of you going to have to go out there and get it all the time. So that would probably be my biggest advice on building relationships with multifamily is get one, do a great job on this project. I used to use the same one over and over again. Whenever I would meet with, the president of the company or the highs up as I could get with the property management company, I would always sit down and say, listen, all we're asking is to get an opportunity. And if you give us that, I know that we're going to do a good job. And I know this sounds crazy, but I don't want just one of your jobs. I want your whole portfolio. And I would just stare at them and wait till they say something. Most of the time they'd laugh and stuff. And I'd say, I know it's funny now because we're just getting to know each other, but make no mistake, I'm here because I want to handle your entire portfolio. And, it took some time. We got, two really good clients now that we 100% focus on that part of our business.
Wow, I like that line because it communicates to them that you're not just looking to make a buck. Like you're going to do an amazing job. You're incentivized to do an amazing job because that's who you are, and that's because you want to get more of their business.
I think it's important too, though, because and this is where a lot of people I think miss the mark on themselves is they talk about themselves all the time. And if you shift your focus more on taking care of their needs and focusing on making sure you're explaining to them why it makes sense to continue to use you over and over again, then you can build that validity for them to just say, okay, we're going to make you guys our first call on all these. But you got to give them a reason to, and you got to think of, all the reasons why it makes sense to them, not why it makes sense to you. And I think that's where a lot of salespeople miss the mark because they always just talk about their company and stuff. And, just like, you and I get sales calls all the time. And if the salesperson just talks all the time about what he can do for you, it's like, you don't know anything about my company. Like, how do you know you can help me help? So I think that's why it's important to really focus, especially on those multifamily deals. It's some of these companies have 200, 300, 400, not just buildings, but apartment complexes that you can tap into.
We do marketing, and that's what we talk about is marketing is about your market. It's not about you, right? You got to figure out what people are really after, like what keeps them up at night. What's gonna, in the case of multifamily, like what's gonna help them like hit their numbers and get their bonus or look good or whatever it is that's driving them. And you refer to it as going fishing every day. We talk about it as hunting versus farming, right? So you can go out hunting every day, and hunting works really well until it doesn't, and then you can starve. But if you're planting those seeds every day or consistently with those companies, those property management companies, then you're going to deepen those relationships. So
Sure.
It makes sense what you guys done, and it seemed to work where you're going deep with those two relationships that you have, and sounds like a great strategy.
I'll be honest with you though, man. Like the biggest hurdle I see a lot of these, because I've had these conversations with people, and what hurts most people is they cannot go and to start chasing the bigger projects all the time because they spend too much money. Their overhead's too high.
Okay.
I mean, he's a very well-known guy in the Storm Ventures group. Great guy. You know, him and I have always had good conversations, but I remember having a conversation with him. He's been in business 10, 15 years. And he was like, yeah, I'd love to start doing more, commercial work and bigger jobs. And I'm like, well, why don't you? And he said, well, I need, residential jobs to pay the bills. I'm like, well, quit spending so much fucking money. And he's like, well, it's easy to say. I'm like, yeah, it is easy to say. Like, just quit spending so much money. But the problem is, and I think that a lot of contractors have, is you have success year 1, year 2, and then you want to start, buy the new truck and stuff like that. Well, like we all know what overhead is, but if you pay yourself a really high salary, that is now overhead to your personal business. And so that it stunts your growth whenever you're in your first few years of business. Your personal income needs to be as low as humanly possible so you continue to build this up. So where you can, if it takes you 6 months to get your first big project, you've got time where this may go down a little bit, but you got plenty of money. And most people, that's where they miss the mark, and that's why they can never, get some of these better jobs. Is because they need the residential too much, and they're still out there climbing on the roofs themselves.
Yeah. It's that lifestyle creep. I don't know if Tim Ferriss talked about it, but it's, you make more money. It's like you get bigger toys, you get a bigger house, you get more obligations, more debt. It happens if you're not intentional about it. And one of my favorite words is intentionality, right? It sounds like that you and your partner, Chris, had that at the beginning. You're like, all right, we're grinding right now. This is year 1. We're working 80, 100-hour weeks, whatever it is, but we know that we need to elevate from that. Like this doesn't define us. Like we're going to do this phase, and then we're going to grow out of that, and we're going to get into this, this next phase. And, what we see after working with hundreds of roofing companies is that most people don't graduate from that. It's like you're working 16 hours a day. You never take that time to be like, all right, well, when do I stop this? Like at what point am I no longer going to be on a roof? Am I no longer going to be going to Home Depot to pick up materials or the supply house? And set those deadlines, and you find people that are 20 years in, they're still doing the same old thing they were doing in year 1 just because they never were intentional about like what they wanted.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and your lifestyle should dictate. I mean, it's your business, right? So I mean, your lifestyle, whatever that may be, should be able to dictate how your business operates. And if it's not, a lot of us just going to spend so much money on things, period.
Yeah, I've seen you talking about that a lot with passion. Just to give us some context to where we are right now in June 2020, where I don't know, who knows what's going on, but we're in the middle of a lot of craziness in the world and COVID and lockdown and businesses shutting down, people in unemployment and all that. Having low overhead, I am going to assume was helped you sleep at night pretty well. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when we had a bunch of employees, and we paid really well. There was over a year we were paying guys salary plus commission, and it worked really well. Of course, like I told you, we decided that we knew that we couldn't operate from afar and then not micromanage the business and still be working the 80 hours a week. So we started eliminating employees. But it was kind of, a lot of times it just naturally happens. We didn't necessarily just go out and just fire everybody. We just kind of naturally happened. But then we spent, once a quarter we do an audit on things that we can cut from the business that we don't need. And anything that is not directly making us money, we get rid of. Like we were doing residential roofing a lot. We had the BBB, well, now that we're not doing residential roofing, we got rid of that. So, you said there, oh, well, that's only whatever it is, 50 or 30 or whatever you're paying the BBB per year. That might be $600 a year if you're paying $50 a month. Little things like all of us have overpaid for workers' comp and insurance and all these things. But if you just treat those things like the world's going to end if you don't get it fixed, then you can really, cut your overhead down. But yeah, we knew that the housing market was going to have a recess eventually. We knew that the market was going to reset eventually. So we kind of built our business to be, kind of recession proof, and all that's due to us having low overhead. And I can't stress, of course, I'm a rich dad, poor dad type of guy. I believe that if you watch and read a lot about what Robert Kiyosaki talks about, especially now, is building this small team of people to be able to be successful to run your business. And that's between your accountant, your lawyer, any of the professionals that you hire out, and you build this small team of people that you're going to do business with for a long time. And so that's kind of more what our mentality was with cutting down the overhead and stuff. And then two, if I'm we're to the point now where, right, like today, if I wanted to take off for 3 months and not work, I could.
That is awesome.
It's stressful, dude. It's like when I remember our overhead at one point was like $20,000 a month, and that was like the beginning of last year. And of course, we did like $2 million in sales last year, which is pretty good considering our market of where we're at. But it's like when you start putting the numbers together and stuff like that. I mean, it's fucking stressful when you're not. When you have a bad month or you have a customer that doesn't pay quickly, then all of a sudden, that $20,000 is coming out every single month, no matter if you're working or not. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and hey, there's gonna be people that are watching or listening to this, and their overhead's $20,000 a week or more, and yeah, that's a big nut for sure. We're similar to you, I guess, in that aspect. We did have, when we ran the agency, the marketing agency, with like running everyone's ads and building websites, we had a pretty decent sized team, and we switched business models into the training model, and we're much leaner now. Our overhead's low, our profit margins are solid, and we went through that exercise a few months ago, actually, of going through all of our monthly expenses, all the random subscriptions that we have to all these softwares. I'm like, yeah, did we use that? When's the last time I used that? I don't even have to log into that, but yeah, it's only $20 a month here, $99 a month here. And yeah, you get rid of those things. It saves you money. And equally as important to me, it like declutters your mind, right? Because it's like, it's one less email you're getting. It's one less like subscription you have to worry about. Like, it's mental clarity, just having like as few things as possible. It's like cleaning out your junk drawer, right? It's like, it doesn't tangibly make you like improve your life, but it gives you that peace of mind. And having that space to mentally operate is huge. So $20,000 a month, that was stressing you out. So where are you at now? You got your partner, you have one person helping you out. What's your monthly overhead?
Well, so she gets paid off of commission. So the only residential that we do is we do installs for Lowe's, but she handles all of that. So I couldn't tell you one person's house that we've done for Lowe's. She handles all of it. It's completely off of us. And the only reason we do it is to pay our monthly overhead of about $2,500 a month. That's where we're at now.
$2,500 a month. That's amazing.
Yeah. Like I said, it took a lot of work to get there. But if we just shut the doors and we just chill right now, $2,500 would be the most that we would spend a month. Would be our monthly overhead.
Dude, yeah, I mean, we went through going through this, a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, and that's a huge asset to have in your back pocket, is having that low overhead. Like, it gives you know what it does is, when you have that big overhead, you have the nut, you're vulnerable to taking on those jobs just to pay the bills, right? All right, we're gonna take on this residential job. Maybe it's like an hour away. It's a small job, but hey, you know what? We got to pay our guys. We got to pay our bills. We have to get some cash flow coming in. Not necessarily making profit on that, right? But you're making enough money to pay the bills, and so you get stuck into that cycle, and you're just like, all right, well, more expenses. I need to take on more of these jobs I don't really want in order to like pay our bills. And then you never get to that point. Like you mentioned that guy who was 15, 20 years in, 10, 15 years in, where you can never develop business at a higher level because you're just kind of on that hamster wheel.
Yeah. And it's stressful, man. It really is.
Yeah, totally. And then from a marketing perspective, we always talk about, well, if you're, I know you have a marketing background, like if you're not doing any marketing, you're just kind of taking whatever referrals come your way. They might be good, they might be bad, they might be across town, they might be like not ideal. So you don't really have a lot of control over that. But when you're doing marketing, then you have more control over who you're targeting, the types of projects you want. Maybe they're bigger houses, maybe it's just commercial, maybe it's only multifam, but you're in charge rather than just kind of being at the mercy of whatever happens to come your way that day, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Let's get into that. I mentioned your digital marketing background. You named your company Digital Roofing Innovations. A lot of companies now in 2020 are just starting to go digital in the roofing industry, which is crazy, but it is a construction industry, which is a few years behind the times. I grew up in it as well. Why did you name your company Digital Roofing? I mean, it's kind of a unique name for a roofing company.
Well, like I said, we originally wanted to do lead gen. So what we wanted to do, I wanted to be out of the U.S. In 2017, living outside the U.S. then. And doing lead gen was kind of what we wanted to do. Well, actually, kind of what we wanted to do was somebody's going to steal this idea and do it now. But what we really wanted to do is give customers an option to be able to get online, measure off the roof, find a contract. I think Roofer does something similar to that now.
Hover does that as well. They have an app where you can take a picture of your house and all that.
Yeah, and basically, we were wanting to, hook up contractors with clients, what we wanted to do, and stuff like that. And so that was kind of part of the reason for the name. I was like, well, in the case that we're actually going to have to do this for ourselves, and I don't know if you ever read the book called The Lean Startup, but it talks a lot about about pivoting. And if you read that, like it's the worst thing you can do is sit there and continue to do a bad idea, or an idea that's not going well. And sometimes you got to pivot your business, and sometimes you end up going down a road you never thought was going to take you there. And so we pivoted to doing contracting. We were a little concerned because, man, I can't tell you how many times that we got asked, "What is a digital roof?" We got asked that a lot. And so we came up with like this BS answers, like we're just very forward thinking, and we use a lot of satellite imagery. Of course, we're in North Alabama, so there's a lot of companies that don't take advantage of some of the technologies in the industry, and they bought into. Plus, we were kind of younger guys, too, so they kind of bought into it a little bit. But yeah, that was the thought process behind the name.
All right, digital roofing, I like it. It stands out for sure. Well, now I got to ask, since Contractor Dynamics is a social advertising training company, I'm checking out your Facebook page. Your personal is very good. You got a big following on there. I love the things you talk about. I love that you're brave enough to put yourself out there, which is something I'm working on as well. But going to your Digital Roofing Innovations Facebook page, it's like a barren wasteland. It's like three or four posts within the last year. God, that's interesting.
Well, man, like again, we're mainly doing government and commercial work, and we built those relationships on the multifamily side, and on the government side, like the U.S. government don't give a crap about your Facebook page. It's good that you have one, and that you have good reviews on there and stuff like that, because they do sometimes look at that stuff. But in terms of like what you're necessarily doing all the time, in my personal opinion, I think that your Facebook and your Instagram, for that matter, is much more geared towards residential roofing. And since we only do installs for Lowe's, we don't even have to generate leads that way. So we still get residential calls, and we just give those over to the Lowe's guys, and if they end up selling the job, great. If they don't, then it's okay. But we're pretty much strict on not moving outside of our business model.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense for sure. I grew up in my family's commercial construction business. We did a ton of government work on the maritime construction end. and HughesMarine.com. They're not on social at all because it doesn't matter. It's like that's not where their audience is. They're on Blue Book and some other ones that are more relevant to that segment of construction for sure. And we have several clients that focus on residential multifam. One of them we're actually doing a big press release for today, or helping them out with that. They're launching a new segment, and they're nowhere to be found on, arguing in the Facebook groups, and they're behind the scenes, but they're pulling in, big projects and big dollars and big personal salaries. So you got to find your lane. You got to find those relationships. It might be Facebook and Instagram. That's what most of our clients do. They're residential focused, but maybe it's LinkedIn. Maybe it's local relationships that you have to build that leverage to.
If you're a contractor and you're not doing TikTok, I mean, I know it's silly, I know it's stupid, but Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, and that's the whole reason I started a TikTok was because of him. Someone asked him, "Do you like TikTok?" He says, "No, I hate it and I think it's stupid." He goes, "Now I want you to ask me, do I have a TikTok?" Of course, they asked him if he had a TikTok. He's like, "Fuck yes, I have a TikTok," because it's the fastest growing social media platform on the planet. So, like in mine, all I do is I speak Spanish. I make these stupid videos where I speak in Spanish to like my friends or my family or something. Of course, none of them speak Spanish, and people seem to like it. And I just funneled that traffic to my, Instagram and my YouTube channel. It's not, it's building my personal brand more than it's building my business. But no, I think there's a huge amount of value on residential. And like I said, you and I, when we come from a marketing background, they gave us a huge advantage because I was always on social media for our company when we first started. And dude, I would say dozens of leads per month on Facebook. Once we built our following, I think we got close to 5,000 likes or whatever on our Facebook page, and that's something we haven't even worked on in 2 years. But we used to get leads. We still get leads from there from time to time, and without us even being on there, just because we put the work in at the beginning. So we've got all the groundwork laid if we ever wanted to get back into residential roofing. Kind of piggyback your point, man. I think if you're doing residential roofing, or even you're wanting to dominate a local market, I think it is absolutely vital to be on the scene on Facebook and Instagram and on TikTok, because it's about building that community, right? And so people know who you are in the community and building your brand. You can do it online for a portion of the cost is traditional marketing.
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned TikTok. We had our sales meeting this morning, and two of our guys, Alex and Dan, are on the call, sales guys, and they sold roofs for years. Now they're working with us. And Alex is like, "Yo, we should be doing Snapchat ads. I think it could really work. I think there's a good angle. It could do this and that." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." Like I have Snapchat on my phone. I don't think I've ever logged into it. I feel old. I also have TikTok, so I'm going to check out your videos. And I was like, "Dude, I'm not dismissing you. I'm like, I have these three things I'm focusing on for this month, so I don't have any bandwidth on it for it right now. But come up with some ideas. Let's talk about it. Let's try it out. We'll see." And certainly very relevant for like an individual sales rep at a roofing company, building his or her own personal brand. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, roofing companies, they don't do anything for marketing. They don't support their sales team. They don't support their people. So a lot of times these 1099 sales reps are just kind of on their own. Like they get a t-shirt and a hat and like, yeah, go sell some roofs. So there's a huge opportunity for them to build out their own mini brand. TikTok. We have one client who actually does some things on Tinder and generates leads that way. I'll just leave it there. I've never, as a married man, family man, I've never been on Tinder. But hey, there's it's an audience, right? You're building that relationship, and people do business with people at the end of the day. So yeah, TikTok, I will have to. I'm a big Gary Vee fan, and I've heard him talk about it like every day for the past year. So I do need to, I guess, spend some time on that for sure.
Yeah, I heard Gary talking about it, and then I was in Mexico City, and one of my buddies is he's like a master chef, and he worked at one of these like high-end restaurants in Mexico City. He's an American guy, and he was like, yeah, he was asking me, he's like, "Hey, do you have a TikTok?" And I was like, "Nah, bro." I was like, "I ain't got a TikTok yet. Facebook and Instagram's like as much social media as I want." I said, But, I just heard Gary Vee talking about it. And he said, man, you need to start one, because he knew I had a YouTube channel. And I said, really? I said, why? And he said, man, I do my cooking shows, but I do a condensed version. I do one, 15 to 60 seconds in Spanish. And he's like, I got like 15,000 followers the first month I did it. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. And, I'm at like, I got over 66,000 followers now on TikTok. And
Wow.
I post a video like once a week. I don't spend any time on it. I know it sounds horrible for me to say I don't watch anybody else's videos other than like my sister. But I'll get on there, I'll record a video, hashtag it up, post it, and I can't tell you how many people has followed me on Instagram because of they like my stuff on TikTok. I mean, most of it's a Hispanic market, but yeah, they just eat it up, man. So.
All right. Well, check back in with me. I'm going to do a TikTok video today, somehow, some way.
Perfect.
Yeah, one of my friends here locally, he owns a couple of restaurants, and his teenage daughter recently got him on TikTok during quarantine and all that. And he's a chef, and he's good at it. Like he's good on camera, and I think it's really working for him. So
all about the hashtagging, man. You gotta know how to hashtag that up. That's how you make it grow.
All right, TikTok. Everyone try out some TikTok. Get your teenage kids to help you out with it, whatever you got to do, or 9-year-olds. And I know it's a younger platform, so definitely going to check that out. What are some of the things, Zach, that like you're kind of diversified? I see your wall behind your whole room is like kind of chalkboard paint. You got lots of things going on there. What's your process? What are your habits? Like, how do you ensure that you're continually thinking about not just the now, but the future of what you want your life to look like, what you want your business to look like, how you're going to continually evolve? Like, do you have kind of a process or a mindset around that?
Yeah, I feel fortunate that in my early 30s, I found what I really wanted in life. When I read The 4-Hour Workweek, I knew that was the lifestyle I wanted to live, and I started doing more traveling and not kind of having rules and being able to travel the world, and that's what like lights a fire inside of me. So it's funny because they talk about this in The 4-Hour Workweek, and people ask me what I do. I always tell people I'm a general contractor. That's what I do, but there's a lot of other things I enjoy to do. I like to hike, golf, I travel, do my YouTube videos, like all that stuff is things I work out. But I do. I'm a big fan of because I think he does a really great job of explaining all of it. Is I'm sure Jocko Wickingling.
Oh, Jocko, yeah. Oh, yeah. Extreme ownership.
Yeah, it's just about having discipline in your life too. He talks a lot. Always, discipline equals freedom. So I get up, I do my workouts in the mornings. Because life always comes up. I know you and I, before we started this, we're talking about working out and stuff. Life comes up, and it's difficult to get your workouts in the evening. And for me, I wake up, I make my bed every morning. No matter if I'm traveling or I'm in a hotel, like even when I'm in a hotel, I make my bed just because it's habit for me. So I get up and do a little stretching. When we do a few push-ups or sit-ups or something, just kind of get my body primed for the day. And probably drink a little too much caffeine in the mornings to get rolling. Then I always always try to get my workouts done in the morning. And I'm a big fan of reading, man. It's been something that when I was in the Navy, I read a few books on leadership and stuff. It was, and it's not an excuse. It's just what it is. I felt like at the time I was, serving, on top of, I was going to school, I always was a high performer in my workouts for my PT test while I was active duty. And one of the things I've done since I've been out of the military is I've made a real commitment to reading. And I think one of the things that people miss the mark on is and again, this is just my opinion. I think people, they have this habit of they think more is better in terms of reading. Don't get me wrong, I think it is important to read as much as you possibly can. But what I noticed, I'll talk to someone who's read a certain book, and I'll say, well, what principles did you apply to your life from that book? And they're like, well, and they really don't. It was more of like this goal, this talking point for them to say, well, I read this book. You know what I mean? Like the
Yep.
notes back here is from Make Friends and Influence People. But after I read the book, I made a conscious, the reason I make these notes is so I can, like the books that I really, just really jump out to me. I always, take the key points, I write them down because I want it to, okay, these are great people that have been more successful in their life than me that's written these books. And what am I doing to apply those principles to my personal life? But I always tell people, like, if you're not reading at our age, like you're missing out big time. Like no one likes to read. Like anybody that's like, oh, I love to read. There are, don't get me wrong, there are a very small amount of people, but watching a movie is more exciting than reading. And I like to read, but watching a movie is more fun than reading. You know what I mean? But if you just make a commitment to it, man, it sounds like you and I have read a lot of the same books and follow a lot of the same people and stuff. It really does enrich your life in a lot of ways. Because a lot of the stuff, man, you don't have to come up with any of your new ideas. A lot of the stuff you can just take these principles that other people have been successful doing it and apply to your own life, and you can just follow that same road of success. So I'm a firm believer in discipline, working out because it makes you feel better, and you're going to live longer, and reading,
Yeah.
and really applying those principles that you read in the books.
Yeah, right on, man. I love reading. I'm glad that this year I've made more time for it, because it's not like everyone says, "Oh, I don't have any time for it." Well, you just don't make time for it, right? We all make time for what's important. So I'm very happy that I've made more time for it. I will set my alarm on weekends to go sit on our front porch with a coffee and read, and like it's amazing. But yeah, at the same time, I love watching a movie with my wife, on a Saturday night. Big fan of discipline. I have my schedule written out right here. I mean, hey, it doesn't work unless you put in buffer time, like an hour here or there, which I'm getting a little bit better at. Otherwise, you get super stressed out. You're like, oh, I didn't accomplish everything. I suck. And on the book thing, I totally agree. Like I never resonate with those people. Like, my goal is to read 100 books this year. Like, okay, well, I'd rather read 2 or 3 or a dozen. One of the ones I recently read, do you know Craig Ballantyne?
I know Craig Valentine.
He wrote The Perfect Day Formula, a very short book. He also wrote The Perfect Week Formula. I've found The Perfect Week Formula to be more prescriptive, as far as like, here's some actions that you should take. The Perfect Day Formula was good for theory and kind of ideas, and then Perfect Week was very prescriptive. I read that twice in the last 3 weeks. I took notes. I mapped out some daily habits that I'm sticking to and like implementing it. It's like, yeah, you can't just read something like that and expect to like have better habits and have the perfect week if you're not going to actually make your schedule. And he's a big fan of one of his kind of thesis is build your business around your life. Don't build your life around your business. And that to me comes down to intentionality.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna check that out then.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm the same way. I'm not smart enough to come up with my own ideas. Like the times that I've gotten in trouble, or not in trouble, but like where I've found myself off track where I want to be, it's when I'm trying to like get too creative about it instead of just like read this book, just do what this guy says, whether it's like personal development, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, like just follow be dumb and just follow the system. Don't try to outsmart it because it's based on someone who's more experienced than you, most likely. So
notes from How the Mighty Fall and Get a Grade from Jim Collins here. I mean, Jim Collins is, renowned as one of the top, business minds in our, in our generation. I put a lot of stock in guys like him and Robert Kiyosaki and some of these other guys like you're talking about and what they're saying. I mean, it's like if I'm an older, really successful guy and I'm wanting to share to the world my knowledge that I'm going to die with, if not, because Father Time always wins, I'm going to write a book, and so I sit there and think like, if these guys are willing to share their knowledge of life, why not listen to them?
Yeah, I love it. And message to the listeners or the viewers right now, you might be thinking to yourself, all right, this guy Zach, he's got a dog, he travels around, he's got low overhead, Yeah, of course he has time to read and philosophize about his business and plan, but I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got, obligations and everything. We had a guest on a couple weeks ago, Graham Desert. Do you know Graham?
Yeah, I know of him.
Roofing 101 out in San Diego. You guys would actually, I think you guys would get along. Graham's got 65 employees. He's got four kids. He does a Murph workout every day, every single day.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, savage, right? And I interviewed him and we had a chat, and guess what? His morning routine is wake up and read for like an hour, I think, and journal. And so there's a guy that's got a big company. I think they're in 10 states right now and expanding. And he's designing his business around his life. So it's not just for, the guy who can pick up and travel and has low overhead. It's for everyone. So don't find yourself making excuses like, oh, well, it's easy for that guy or it's easy for her, but I got this other situation. That's an excuse. So call yourself out on that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, so yeah, one kind of parting question, and then we'll get into some lightning round, a few fun questions. So you've been intentional again about building your business to where you're at. What do you say to the roofing company owner who's like, if I want to snap my finger and I'd be like that guy, like that sounds awesome. Sign me up for that. I'm in the grind right now. Like, how do I make that shift from where I am now to getting like elevating to that next level?
Well, honestly, I really think, and I've talked about this a lot, is quit spending so much money on stuff. You got to adopt a minimalist mindset, and you got to quit thinking what anyone else thinks success is. Like, one of my good friends recently, he's a great guy. He's one of the smartest young people that I know. He's 23, 24. He owns a company called SpanishVIP.com now, where he helps people learn Spanish. And, he's just an exceptionally smart individual. But he was like, now that you've got so much falling on, like, why don't you like rent you a Lambo or a Ferrari? And he's like, people would eat that up. And I'm like, yeah, they would, but that would be bullshit. Like, I don't have enough money to buy a Ferrari or Lamborghini right now. So anyone who knows me well or follows my business will know that it's just bullshit. And I'll lose all credibility of what I've built the last 3 years. And so my point is that don't try to be someone you're not, and really adopt this minimalist lifestyle. I mean, dude, I drive a 2004 Toyota Highlander. Now, my business partner and I went almost 3 years without paying ourselves salary, but it was all to get to this moment where we're at now. Now I can go from making nothing to, if I wanted to just grind out for the next year or two, I could easily make, put in my own pocket $200,000 a year, plus put money back in my business. But it's taken us 3 years to sacrifice. And so that's my biggest advice to people is quit spending so much money. And Gary Vee talks about this a lot. Most people purchase things not for themselves, but for other people or to impress other people. Quit doing that and just live on find out what's the minimum dollar amount that you can live on, and try to spend like $500 less than that per month. And then everything else just put into your company. Just continue to build your company, continue to push to do larger jobs. Because like for me now, if someone, I swear to God, this is a true story. If my next door neighbor called me today and said, I want you to do our roof for $10,000, I would not do it. I would say, thank you so much for the opportunity, but we are not in the position to be able to do the project, and give them somebody else's number. Because any mental energy I have to go do that project is a missed opportunity to do a larger project. Now, if, most of the projects we do are at least $100,000 more. And so if your profit margin, let's just say everybody's profit margins is 30%. Well, would I rather make $30,000 or would I rather make $3,000? Yep. So that would be my advice to people.
I love that you said that. Tim Conley, my business partner. We just did an episode last week about that. Like you'll get a lot of business owners, a lot of contractors saying, well, I am going to help that neighbor out because like we're in the business to serve our clients. Like we're going to provide for our community and that sort of thing. Well, number one, you're not set up to provide an amazing service for that homeowner. And number two, yeah, you might make some money, but that opportunity cost, that mental overhead, that mental energy, that laying in bed at night, wondering if it's going to rain the next day or whatever, like that takes away from that energy that you need to go out and build those relationships with multifam or get those government jobs or whatever it is. That is so key. I learned during this whole kind of quarantine lockdown, and I don't live flashy at all by any means, but even like during quarantine, I'm like, man, I don't really need much. Like it's simple, need like good food because we like to eat healthy. We love to cook, family, like we, love to be outdoors and do our thing. And like, yeah, I don't really need much at all,
I know there's, the Crest people out there who, the mentality is brand new trucks and, big logos, and there's nothing wrong with building that type of company. There's a lot of people who've been very successful. My thing is, if you're trying to build one of those, it's going to be 20 years before you can go take off to go somewhere 3 months. And if you think you can do it any faster than that, you're not going to be able to. That's just the reality of it. And if you want to build a company to where when you walk in the door, because you got an office and everybody kisses your ass every day and stuff, if that turns you on, by all means, build your company that way. There is nothing wrong with that. But if you're wanting to have the lifestyle I have, where I can take off. My girlfriend from Ecuador literally is flying in tomorrow night. She's gonna come live with me in Alabama for a little bit. But our plan afterwards is probably to either go to live in the Galapagos Islands together for a little bit, continue to travel through Latin America and stuff like that. And most of the stuff I can do now, as long as I have an internet connection, I can work a few hours a day, and the rest of the time I'm spending doing whatever else I want to do.
That is awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, Zach. Let's get into the lightning round. You want to have some fun? You kind of mentioned it a couple times, but let's hear it again. Real quick, morning routine.
Wake up, make my bed, work out, and discipline on getting my work done as quickly as possible.
If you were not a general contractor right now, what would you be doing professionally?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I might go back to school to get into to do something in space technology. Probably not an astrophysicist, but I would probably maybe try to do something with space. Maybe do something, try to get hired by Tesla or something.
Are the problems in the world so bad right now that you're actually looking to leave Earth?
No, I actually think if you stop watching the news, and I have a Facebook newsfeed killer, so I don't see anybody else's post on Facebook. I think if you block out, I call it selective ignorance is what I call it. If you block that stuff out, you'll be surprised in how pleasant the world is.
For sure. I go back to Tim Ferriss, the information diet.
Yes.
It's huge. You got to be intentional about that. Travel destination that's on the top of your list right now.
So my girl's from Ecuador, and her and I've talked about going to live at the when I say live, like temporary stay for a few months at the Galapagos Islands. I think it's gonna be pretty. So that's probably the most realistic thing that I'm probably gonna do in the next little bit.
That sounds pretty exotic.
Yeah.
You wrote a post on your personal Facebook a couple weeks ago. What are you absolutely exceptional at?
I want to be an exceptional contractor for the government. That's what I really want to do. If I had anything in the world that I could just be absolutely exceptional with, that would be it.
What book are you currently reading?
Well, you just gave me a book that sounded pretty interesting. I recently finished The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko. I re-listened to the audiobook of which I've read How to Win Friends and Influence People a while back, but I just recently listened to the audiobook to make sure I was applying a lot of those principles. But I may check your book out next, man. The Perfect Week Formula sounds pretty good. It sounds like something I would be into.
Yeah, and if you like to keep your overhead low, I think it was only like $1 or $2 on Kindle. So can't go wrong there, right?
No.
All right, that's all I got, Zach. Any parting shots for the audience listening or watching?
No, I mean, I think for most people, honestly, like I know this is more lifestyle advice than anything, but man, if you just get off social media a little bit and quit watching the news, like your life will immediately improve. And just so you know, I'm not full of shit either. This is my phone.
Whoa, what the heck is that?
This is a flip phone.
Whoa! It's been
It's
a
been a
while
while
since
since
I've
I've
seen
seen
one of
one of
those.
those.
I have an iPhone, which I'm talking to you on, but it has no internet that goes to it. I leave it at my house unless I have to go on a business trip, like where I do my site visits. But even the only time I have internet connectivity to is I'll turn internet sharing on this thing and use this. But other than that, this is my primary means of communication. And it's just further like unplugging from the matrix, you know, and I honestly like I did this for 3 months last year when I was in Mexico, which was a challenge. But since I've been back on the flip phone, my life has gotten so much better.
The irony of that most people are either listening to this or watching this right now on social media on their smartphones, and we're talking about why you should not have one, why you should have it.
Yeah, I mean, I make money on my Instagram and stuff account, like doing personal stuff. So it's not like I'm saying don't have these things, but I'm just saying, you know, limit your exposure and your time to it, and like quit arguing with people about everything. I posted today, literally, the best way to win an argument is not to have one.
Yeah, totally. I'm not quite at the flip phone level, but I'm not on social media most of the weekends. Like I'll schedule things out, or if I want to post something, I'll jump in and post it, but I'm not looking at anyone else's feed or anything like that. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, man, I really appreciate you sharing your story. It's awesome to hear some of the mindset, the habits that you've got going on, the intentionality you have around building what you built so far. And just really appreciate you, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Well, thanks for having me on. I've always enjoy your stuff and watch you closely and stuff. And
awesome stuff, man. Talk to you again soon.
thanks, Joseph. See you, buddy.